Alright, great day everyone. Chof here, admin of Life at IMG, and today let us continue the 6 steps to financial security. Okay, that's third step, creating emergency funds. So a quick review to the 6 steps to financial security. Number one, that is increasing cash flow, meaning that we need to earn additional sources of income. And at the same time, we want to learn how to manage our expenses. And step two, that is debt management. We want to manage and hopefully we can eliminate our debts. And for today, let us discuss about the importance of building and creating an emergency funds. And to start, in a cash flow diagram, okay, that's cash flow going in and cash flow going out. So for us to have financial stability, the cash inflow should be equivalent to the cash outflow. Or better yet, the cash inflow should be greater than the cash outflow. So, however, what if there's a leak in our wealth bucket? There's an emergency. So, the usual solution for most Filipinos is this one. They go into emergency loans. Okay? So, an emergency loan is a temporary solution for this one. But at the end of the day, it really is another outflow. It's really another outflow stream in our wealth bucket. The challenge with emergency loans is the interest, because no matter how we promise to really pay off our debts, sometimes stuff really happens and they become less of a priority. And if we cannot pay the amount, then with the interest it keeps growing and growing. And instead of becoming a solution, it becomes a much worse kind of problem. So the real solution for this scenario would be to build an emergency fund. Again, that's emergency fund, not emergency loan. This emergency fund would serve as a buffer. It's another source of income that would solve, all right, that would maintain the balance of our cash flow streams. Okay, so the real concept, or basically the concept of having an emergency fund, is just really saving up for future unexpected expenses. Okay, so we live within our means, set aside a portion of that income as savings for emergency funds. The challenge for most Filipinos is this one: we hate to save. Do you agree with me? All right. That's why we are very easily tempted in having credit cards as a source of emergency fund, right? Are we familiar with, like, hey, get credit card right now, just in case of emergency, you have something you can use? Yeah, that could be. I agree with that. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it's just a temporary solution. And to remind you guys, emergency is a problem. And going into debt is another problem. Okay? So you cannot solve a problem with another problem. You don't go into debt for emergencies. That's why, again, it's very important to build an emergency fund. And in order for us to build an emergency fund, it's really simple. How to build one. Okay? So we use the formula of paying ourselves first. That's income minus savings. Okay, so that savings, we put it in an emergency fund. Whatever is left, we use for expenses. Again, income minus savings, whatever is left, expenses. A lot of people use the wrong formula. That is income minus expenses, and if ever there's left, could be for savings. But the truth is, really, there's really nothing left after all our expenses. Okay, so the real formula should be income minus minus savings again, and whatever is left, that would be for our expenses. And a typical emergency fund would look like this one. How it would look like: 3 months if you're single, 3 months worth of your income, or to be accurate, 3 months worth of your expenses. And for couples, that's 6 months worth of your expenses. So, example, you have a monthly income of or expenses of around 20,000 per month, and that's 3 months worth of expenses, that's 60,000 for singles, and a whooping 120,000 for couples. Sound stuff? Yeah, I agree with you. That's why, as much as possible, we want to build as early as now an emergency fund. And at least to have a starter emergency fund, we recommend having like around 8,000 to 10,000 pesos. Okay, at least you have a starter emergency funds. But the idea will be times 3 for singles, and again 6 times for couples. And now, where do we put our emergency funds? So it's something very liquid, very accessible. So we can have it in banks like ATM, passbook, or checking accounts. Or you could also have it in cash. The challenge with cash is this one. It's very accessible. And I don't know, sometimes there's some psychological something, I don't know, that when we know we have money, sometimes it's just really, really tempting to spend. Right? So this really also an advantage if we put our emergency fund into banks. Highly suggest put it in passbook. Why not ATM? Because you can use it as a debit card, or you can basically withdraw anywhere as long as there's a machine. But with passbook, you need to line up, you need to, I don't know. So it's a little bit tedious compared to ATM. Okay. For checking accounts, highly recommended for business owners. Okay. So really, the purpose of these instruments is really for emergency funds. That's why if you notice, the banks give us very minimal interest rates. Why? Because the banks know that anytime you can withdraw your funds. Okay? And because of that, because of convenience, because of liquidity, they give us very minimal interest rates. Because the purpose of banks really is for emergency reasons. Okay? Now, after understanding how to build an emergency fund, where to put it, now we want to put some rules when to use it. Because, I don't know, like, let's say, for example, midnight sale. 50% off on your favorite shoes. Or, I don't know, like, flat screen TV. And it will just last around this midnight. So does that sound emergency to you? Okay, so we really need to put some rules when to use emergency funds. So here's some suggestions. Okay, so if you are a couple, it's really highly advisable that you talk with your spouse. Number one is job loss or business slowdown. Because right now, if I'm gonna ask you, if you're gonna lose your job right now, how many days can you survive without a source of income? So that's the purpose of emergency funds. Okay? If you're single, 3 months. If you have 3 months worth of savings, 3 months worth of your income, then most likely after 3 months, you could already find another job. Okay? Very important to have an emergency fund in that case. Business slowdown. Businesses really go up and down, up and down. You need to have an emergency fund. Number two, major damages or repairs for homes, business properties, and even car. Okay? Like example, there's a typhoon and typhoon like blow away the roof of your house. You can wait the 15th or the 30th for your salary before you repair the damage. No. So you need emergency funds. Okay? Number three, sicknesses, illnesses, and worst case, death. Okay? Very important to have emergency fund. A lot of people say that there are a lot of sick people that died not because there's no cure, but because there's no money. We need to prepare for this kind of emergency. And then disasters like earthquake and typhoons, whatever, we need to prepare for that. Or basically, we need to be prepared for the rainy days. Okay? So, all these rules you can use so that in any situation you can feel really secure because you know you have an emergency fund. Okay? But then again, among all these rules, which one is the number one cause of Filipino bankruptcies? Actually, that's number 3, illnesses or death. Okay, one major sickness can wipe out a lot of people's savings. You can sell properties, businesses shut down because of one major illnesses. It's one of the one of the common cause of people or family bankruptcies. That's why it's really also important not just to prepare an emergency fund, but also need to prepare for sicknesses and death. Okay, so that's it for now. And once you become a member of IMG, these are our advanced training courses. Okay, so we want to help you build a solid financial foundation. In order for us to have financial security, we need to have a solid financial foundation. And as I mentioned earlier, the number one cause of bankruptcy is really healthcare issues. That's why, first step, we need to understand about short-term and long-term healthcare. Okay, we need to prepare for that one. Number 2, we need to also understand about life insurances, protection. In case something happens to us, we leave monetary value to our family. So the challenge with life insurance, it's never a fun topic, all right? And it's never taught in school. That's why here in IMG we advocate sharing to people these concepts. Okay, and then next is debt elimination. For us to have financial security, no debts. Okay, and emergency funds. And lastly, for us to have a comfortable retirement, we also need to learn about investments. So once you become a member of IMG, you have access to all these lectures and training. We have our workshops, we have our one-on-one consultations, we have conventions. Okay, we have this online platform for you guys. We can do webinars and seminars. Basically, you have access to all financial education that you want to avail. Okay, so once you become a member of IMG, okay, you have access to all this one. So the goal again is to have 1 million Filipino families to become financially educated by the year 2020. And I hope you'll be one of them. Okay, so be a member of IMG now. Click the sign up button somewhere in this video. And I welcome you to a great life here at IMG. Thank you and God bless.